Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, for some of you. Today it's my pleasure to welcome on the Biomarine 1 Hour with Ayca. She is the CEO of the Solublue company, a company that I really like. I've been in touch with her for quite a few months, and we're going to go through venture and the idea behind Solublue. So as usual, we're going to start with a presentation, and she will explain why she is now in the UK. And afterwards, we're going to have an interview, and then you'll have plenty of time to ask your question, and we try to answer that. All the session will be recorded and will be available on the Biomarine TV website afterwards. So thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, and welcome, Ayca. So Ayca, who are you?
Thanks very much, Pierre. So I start my screen share. Thanks very much for introduction. Ayca Dundar here, CEO and co-founder of Solublue. My background is industrial design, and I'm a Turkish designer, studied and in Turkey, did my undergraduate degree at the, I did my undergraduate degree in industrial design in Turkey, worked with international companies. During my studies, I actually licensed two of my ideas to two big global companies. And after graduation, I basically interested in packaging design, designed my own structural container. And I won first prize in Turkey in national innovative packaging design competition, awarded with cash prize, as you can see, but at the same time, full scholarship to study abroad for my master's degree. And luckily I got accepted to Royal College of Art, and my journey carried on with my design aspiration in London. And when I got to London, I got hit by rain and heavy wind. My umbrella got broken, and it just made me think a bit more about why materials matter. Material selection is really important in sustainability and design, and why are we using them? And at first I started with the understanding of we need to extend the life cycle of these products, increase the longevity, and they are very important for the sustainability of this product developments. And then in order to solve this kind of umbrella issues, I changed the material as a solution. Basically invented an umbrella that's only made out of 6 parts, and it's also not aluminum, but just steel. So you can't actually break this umbrella with any wind or just by hand. And I got a lot of attraction, invited to BBC, invited to UK Parliament, gave speech about it, exhibited everywhere. And but again, this just made me think a bit more about adding this longevity and material approach to other products, such as this design with Technogel. So they invented a new plastic, and I designed a new container for them. But in the end, this material can't be recycled. So it just, again, made me think about, it doesn't matter how innovative these products could be. It's about where this material is coming from and what's happening to this material in the end. In the end, it just made me think about the plastic pollution. And I got hit by this statistics that only 9% of the plastic we produce today gets recycled. So the rest ends up in the landfill and in the ocean. And we are actually under a lot of pressure with what's happening with the climate change and the plastic pollution that's happening in our world. So because of this reason, I started developing a new material that can be used industrially in new products, especially in packaging. And my journey started with looking at alternative materials. And I started looking at natural polymers that can biodegrade in the natural environment, even in ocean conditions benignly. did a lot of experiments with, cellulose, rice-based or, corn-based different type of organic and natural polymers. But then after years of experimenting, I came across seaweed. And seaweed was such an amazing material that I figured that you can form films with it. You can make it into a material. It's a natural polymer. You can basically put it into ocean and it basically biodegrades in ocean environments. The material is even edible. So it has a lot of benefits. Seaweed is capturing a lot of carbon in our environment to grow. It's a carbon sink. And at the end of its life cycle, with the material that you make, you can actually compost it and put all the carbon into the soil. So with our journey with Solublue started with this new innovative material that's made out of seaweed, which is the most important ingredient in our product, in our material. So we can make films, we can make structural containers, straws, punnets, structural or film type of products. The start of journey also included my husband, Francis, and we've been working on it for around 7 years, I say. And we won several awards with this invention. One is Next Gen Cup Challenge. 2 years ago we won, and with consortium partners with Starbucks, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, they also acknowledge this bringing natural polymers and seaweed-based products into market. EIT, European Institute of Technology, also awarded us with prizes, 2 prizes actually. And recently we won world's biggest sustainability competition, the Green Postcode Lottery Challenge. And it's been fascinating and really, really exciting journey for us, because right now we want to bring our technology to the scale up stage. We also seen not just the environmental impact, but also economical impact of using plastic, and how we might help other businesses to tackle these issues, because the customers that we talk to, big supermarkets, they also want a change. It's not just about customers, it's also, big retailers, big, textile companies to cosmetic companies, they want a change and they are looking for alternative materials. The thing is, it's not out there, so it needs to be developed now. And the other aspect that we also experimented and explored at Witness is that food waste. We are wrapping all this cucumbers and all this, fresh food into plastic. But with our tests, we've seen that plastic is the worst material for fresh food, because you are capturing all this fresh food, they are breathing, they are creating carbon dioxide and water. When you trap water and food source, it's a perfect environment for mold forming and premature food spoilage. So we want to tackle that as well. That's why we can now illustrate that with our packaging material, we can extend freshness of this fresh food. So if you put, for example, a pack of cheese in plastic, you can see, mold forming a couple of weeks after, in this packaging. But in Solublue, you don't even need refrigerator. It's a seaweed-based packaging material, and you can even leave it outside. You don't have to use any energy sources, and it will preserve your food. It won't spoil it. And with this, raspberries, it's even more obvious, and how much freshness that we can add to this products without even using refrigerator is remarkable. There is also this fun aspect of it. If you have a pack of blueberries in Solublue packaging, you can dry them into dry berries. You don't have to throw it away as it gets spoils. You can snack with them, you can bake with them, with grapes, you can use them as raisins. So it opens many opportunities, not for not for consumers, but also for producers and retailers, that if they have this product in their warehouse, if it, what happens with plastic, if it expires, they have to throw the whole unit to the landfill. But with Solublue packaging, the fresh food will gradually dry in it, because as a natural polymer, it is hydrophilic and will absorb excess moisture and will help a lot of companies to preserve their food without using any energy. And our team is, it has grown since me and Francis in the company to advisors in the industry, as well as industry and academic partners. They joined, we work with them after winning 7+ competitions. So it's been going well with Solublue, and how we are growing and expanding is very exciting journey for us. And it will be good to carry on with your questions, I guess, and happy to have any questions if the audience have.
Thank you very much, Ayca. That is really impressive, and I don't know where to start, because all the points you listed are really the wish list of any, I would say, big industry partner that want to get, into bioplastic. So let's start, with the beginning. So last week, it was all over, on the news, and you received this Green Lottery prize, and even Richard Branson, sent you a nice message, to congratulate you. So I'd like, to understand what you're going to do with that, and how you're going to capitalize on this tremendous, communication and image that you received, through the prize. And maybe, my first question would like, to understand what is behind Solublue. So we understand that you and Francis are, the inventors and the two in charge of the company. But tell us more about, how did you form, the company, and what are your expectations?
So we were first of all thrilled by Richard Branson's sharing the news, and not him, but a lot of people shared our news. We were in Times magazine, so it's been fascinating, and it's been also very encouraging for this big names following what we are doing, and also joining the movement. And this movement is green movement. Everyone is now aware of climate change, what's happening with the plastic waste, and it's very encouraging that a lot of people are want to participate, want to be part of it, and sharing the vision is really encouraging. So what we are now is, we are hopefully gonna get this grant funding with Postcode Lottery Challenge, and we can start, we are now lab scale. So with this funding, we can scale into pilot production, so that we can demonstrate the benefit of using seaweed-based natural polymer in packaging applications in supermarkets, in other type of textile packaging or cosmetic packaging areas, to get feedback from the industry and the customers is the next step for us.
For such a, you're a startup, and I think, it requires a lot of energy, to get in all directions. So what will be the priorities in terms of, I would say, packaging development? Is it the food packaging? Is it the cosmetic? Is it, the textile? Or do you have any other crazy idea that you want to develop?
Yes, actually, we are full of ideas, and we constantly develop new products or new materials, because we've been approached by almost daily basis with new companies all around the world. And when you look at the interest that they have, can you make this cosmetic packaging, or can you make this, structural container? Can you add, I don't know, fiber into your material? And each time they come up with a question, it's a potential an opportunity to develop something completely novel. So we are always listening to what people are coming up with questions to us or problems. So it's an opportunity to come up with a new novel idea or material. So in terms of what you can come up with, seaweed it doesn't have any limit. Sky is the limit. You can do whatever you want with it. It's just experimentation and adding new ingredients and, doing new experiments with it. Our first goal is we are focusing more on the food aspect because we can add two benefits. It's not only biodegradable and compostable, even in ocean conditions. It is also extends freshness. So it is a huge advantage in terms of climate change and the environmental impact, because a kilo of food waste costs us 2.5 kilos of carbon dioxide emission, green gas emission. The food waste, how are we dealing with our food waste, is really, really just doesn't make sense, because we are throwing all of the energy, all of the nutrition into general waste. It goes to the landfill. Instead, all of our food waste should have been composted. We should put all of the ingredients and nutrition energy into soil. Soil is the biggest carbon capture. So Solublue material, which is seaweed based, enables individuals and companies will do this effortlessly. So you can have a Solublue packaging, have some, cucumber in Solublue packaging. If you couldn't eat it, you can actually throw it into a compost bin without removing the packaging from food source. So in this way, both seaweed-based packaging and food waste go to the compost. Seaweed is a perfect material for soil fertilizer. So that's the first area that we want to tackle.
Okay, so I understand. And I guess, it will be slightly different, to design a polymer that will fit, the food industry, the distribution, or, the cosmetic, because, the needs are slightly different. I guess that in cosmetic, you need to get into rigid packaging, and that can resist to water, that can resist to solvent. So do you have a plan in terms of milestones development, and how you see your future, program, in terms of potential partnerships?
We are open to potential partnerships with any industry, really. So with the next step, we like to develop film. We already developed a film, so that's a low-hanging fruit for us. So we can actually use this film in food packaging to textile packaging. So if you want to use polybag for your garments, if you want to use like a secondary packaging for your cosmetic products, nowadays it comes with films. You can use Solublue packaging for, it's a seaweed-based packaging. In terms of making structural containers for long-lasting products, so they are not, the ones that you are referring to are not single-use, but are suitable for multiple uses. So definitely in those products, we need to develop or adapt a coating technology on our material, because like I previously said, it is a naturally hydrophilic material, which makes it very easy to break down in ocean conditions. And if we are developing a new coating technology, we need to be, give importance on how are we going to, are we going to compromise from biodegradability? Is it still going to be biodegrade fast enough for natural world? So these are the objectives that we have that we like to accomplish. But for long-lasting products, definitely a coating technology will be the next step for us.
And I've also been told that you're also working on composites, which is also a new world. And so is it, that your polymer will be the sealant, or is it, part really of the composite?
A composite aspect is amazing opportunity, because you can mix Solublue with any type of fibrous materials. It could be a waste material. So we are being approached by some companies, for example, food producers. They have seeds and they want to get rid of seeds, and they want to find an application. Where are we going to use these seeds? And they are coming to us saying, can you use the seeds in your packaging? Can you combine it with your material? And we say yes. And other waste products, again, fibrous products with materials, we can again combine it with Solublue. We also filed patent on the composite area, mixing composites with fibrous composites with Solublue last year. And the advantages that it gives is, so it's in terms of temperature change, it basically acts as a kind of barrier. So it kind of preserves the temperature in your food, or if it's like heat sensitive, so it has this kind of advantages that plastic doesn't have.
So this is really cool, because I understand also that most of the people, they think that, it's going to be an immediate change, in the plastic development. I don't think so. And I think that, plastic will last for years, but you become an interesting alternative. And the more you're going to grow, the more you're going to provide services that we were not able, to have because of the biodegradation and potentially edible, solution that you can provide. So this is really cool. That raises another important question. If we want, to move slightly to this new direction, how are you going to cope, with the raw material production? What are the quantities we need, in terms of seaweed production to be able, to deliver enough of this packaging?
I think that's a really important question, and that's an area that we are highly focused and interested in finding a solution, because with fossil fuel, we are digging up from the ground, it's available in a lot of places, it's a commodity. And it's difficult to compete with plastic because it's so readily available everywhere, and the cost is dirt cheap. So it's a big competition, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity. We need tons and tons of seaweed to be able to make, to grow this material, and also use it in commodity products such as packaging. We need billions of packaging every year for every type of items that we are using, from foods to textiles to everything. We cover it with packaging. So there are a lot of places around the world, like ocean is 3/3 quarter of the earth. So we are growing seaweed in the oceans. So actually, in terms of resources, like raw material resources, it has a tremendous opportunity. It's not, we don't have to use land to grow seaweed. Growing it in the ocean without using any water, any land is a great source. That's why the other reason that we want to use seaweed is that, you can harvest it from the oceans without causing any negative environmental impact.
This is a very important point, and I want to remind, our audience that when we're talking about seaweed, there is seaweed and seaweed. Most of the seaweed that we're going to use so far is coming from Southeast Asia, and they are full of heavy metals, pesticides, and some weird, estrogen and fluorines. So if we want to develop an organic sector, for the seaweed, it will take time. And I know that Solublue is already, preparing the grounds, discussing with some of the largest organic seaweed producer, but that will be some information they will be able to release in the next future. So far, we understand, what is at stake. In terms of carbon capture, which is a really important, issue, if we grow seaweed and we eat it, if we do cosmetics, maybe the carbon will be released very fast. Instead, if we stock it, in the polymers that will last, for longer period, it becomes interesting in terms of valorization. Do you have any idea of what is, the sequestration rate, and what can we expect, in terms of using seaweed as a biomaterial for these applications?
So it, as you know, seaweed sequesters carbon. It captures carbon in a great amount. For example, if you cover 9% of the ocean with seaweed, according to the statistics, it captures all of the green gas emissions in the atmosphere. In terms of efficiency, it is more efficient than trees, because all part of seaweed can do photosynthesize, whereas with trees, it takes years and years to grow, but only their leaves can do, only the green parts of the trees and other plants can do photosynthesize. So in terms of efficiency, seaweed is a great material, great raw material to be used for capturing carbon. And again, it captures carbon at the end of its life, because I'm also focused on the end of life. It's important to all this carbon that's captured with this material to be added into the soil. So again, soil is the biggest carbon capture. So we need to put all of the food waste, all of the material that can be compostable into the soil.
We agree on that. Okay, Ayca, I'd like to come back to your vision and better understand what will be the next step, in terms of development for Solublue. So at this stage, I know that you're preparing your next round and you're going to raise some money. Can you be more specific and tell us what amount you're going to raise, for what purpose, and what will be the next step in terms of development?
Sure. So to be more specific, we are raising between 2 to 5 million pounds. And these funds are going to be used for scaling our technology. So we can already provide and illustrate that our technology works. So the next step will be doing pilot trials, getting feedback from our customers, and then again, developing further for licensing model. So we would like to be a global player in the biomaterial industry. We know that we need to act fast, and the fastest route to the market is licensing route, because if we make our technology that material that can be sent all around the world via licensing model, that is the fastest route that we can approach the all markets and out of continents.
So that is very important, because you're mentioning that you're more on the licensing model, which I think is the best case scenario, because with seaweed, if we start to ship seaweed from one part to the other part of the world, it's going to be a catastrophe in terms of carbon footprint. So your idea is really to find the best partners that are in the value chain, that can produce, that can process, that can transform, to take a license and produce for local markets the bioplastic made with their own raw material, correct?
Definitely. So that will be the ideal scenario that we are going for. And the seaweed industry, when we talk to seaweed farmers, we know that they are also getting a lot of investment and interest. And seaweed production is growing, not just in biopolymers, but in food industry, to cosmetic industry. The opportunities are limitless. And we are covered by oceans all around us, so it's like it's a no-brainer to grow seaweed. And if we grow it a lot of places around the world, which is we are growing, and if we carry on expanding it, then I don't see any limit in like you said, producing locally and growing locally and producing locally type of approach. That is the most sustainable approach.
So what type of investor are you looking for? Because most of the time people say, well, I'm trying to find an investor. I know that you're very careful, with the proceeds of this, future round, and you want, to attract, the best investors. So tell me more about your vision, your philosophy, and what type of investor we can convince today or tomorrow, through this interview.
Sure. I mean, we are looking for investors and people that share our vision. We like to tackle climate change. We like to bring a new polymer that is fully biodegradable, without giving any negative harm to our environment. And also, it's not our goal is not about the biggest. If you go, the bigger the better type of approach. We like to grow sustainably. We like to work hand in hand with all the farmers that growing, all the the benefit, economical benefit that they are having, and their rights. We like to work with the right seaweed farmers and the impact that their farmers are having, all the workers that they are having. So it's just making it, all of a sudden big company might have negative consequences. So we like to grow gradually in the market on better understanding our carbon footprint, our suppliers to growers, and the market that we are going into. So the investor that we are looking should also understand that and help us carrying on our journey and making Solublue a success.
Excellent. So if Richard Branson is listening, and I hope, we will get the interview. So Richard, we're waiting for you. I'm going to give you my phone number. Please don't hesitate to contact us because Solublue needs you. And we're going to test, the trays, the food packaging on your plane. And I think it's going to be a great experience. That will be awesome. Excellent. So next question, Ayca. What will be, let's say that, we have industry partners listening to you and they have some ideas about this potential partnership. How do you see, the structuring of the partnership with an industry, big industry partners? Because you're still a startup, you're going to bring a polymer. How you envisage, the cooperation with these big industry players?
Yes, I mean, we are talking with a couple of big industry players, especially manufacturers, like packaging manufacturers as well. And the thing that we understand is, which is really important, is they need to be a bit patient with us. And companies like us, doing the new polymers, bringing a new material to market is a challenging thing. We are working really hard to make it possible, and we know that it is the next thing in terms of material technology. It is going to happen. Seaweed material is going to happen, and it's going to be used worldwide. And we believe in this vision. And a lot of investors and big companies, they also share this vision with us. But in terms of collaboration and taking the next steps, they need to be more open to talking a lot of like the development around these stages, not just expecting that, okay, send me the material and I can produce it, because natural polymers are not there yet. Natural polymers, if you are looking for a fully biodegradable, fully compostable, even edible type of natural polymer, which requires by the new EU legislation, you actually need to be a bit patient about that material being, developed to be used as in the mass manufacturing stage. So those materials, this type of seaweed materials, are not that at stage yet. So big companies need to be aware of that and a bit patient with us, and also willing to work with us to test it and join our R&D process. And, I think the important thing is carrying on the conversation, not just, dropping the conversation saying, you are not there yet, but it's a conversation, it's an R&D process, it's a development. So we all need to work on this together. It's not just one Solublue or a couple of small companies doing this, but it's a joint effort.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. And there might be a risk, working with large companies that, the IP will be co-owned, and in that way, you're going to be blocked to work with other partners in the industry. So how do you anticipate this? And is there any recommendation, for, the way for the investors, of course, how you're going to address this type of issue?
I think it's a negotiation. There aren't a lot of companies. There are of course a lot of companies doing biodegradable packaging material or new polymers, but it's about negotiation about where you are as a company and the big player in the industry, because this type of polymer is not work in one sector. It's a multi-sector, multi-purpose material. So they should be more open about the licensing agreement. So you can have a licensing agreement with them, but it doesn't mean that you can't license your material with another company if you didn't agree on exclusivity. So if it's not tied on exclusivity, it will give you right to do other licensing agreements with other companies. Or what else you could do is you have a licensing agreement with one manufacturer or one client, and you see how things go with this development. And you can always say 2 years, you give a time limit to yourself. You can see at 2 years, we need to be achieve a milestone. If you can't hit that, then you should be free to explore other markets and other customers. So it is all about negotiation, I think. It is also a conversation with investors, their expectations, our expectations, and our clients' expectation.
Okay, In terms of team and management, I know that you're going to start, to look around and you're going to recruit more people. What are the profiles of people that you're looking for?
Yes, we are also getting, a couple of interests for our company. Young individuals who are very passionate about, changing the world. Not afraid of asking questions and, be more experimental, more adventurous about what this kind of new material can bring to the market and bring to the table. We are looking for, we like to expand, and we are looking for, scientists in biomaterials aspects, manufacturers who can help us, technical engineers who can help us, with the scale up process, engineering process, a lot of team members that we will be looking for.
And my next question will be about, potential synergies with other players, because you use some of the polymers. There are a few companies also developing, and I'm not talking about the one that are pure marketing companies, say that, they have polymers and one day maybe they will have, but the one that actually have, some polymers, how do you anticipate or foresee any cooperation or synergies with the other startups?
We are 100% open to synergies with other, seaweed-based polymer developers. The important thing is that, we need to join forces. It's not about, of course, it's a competition, it's a market, and we are developing something similar, and it's a competition, and who enters the market first is a winner. But at the same time, market is huge. It's not something that one, startup company can make this all. We are just talking about, the material is just, when you think about, there's films is a simple term. There are so many films that you can make, films for bread, films for fresh food, films for, cosmetics, textiles, and there is the structural containers. And as I told you before, each time a customer comes to us, they comes to us with a new requirement that we didn't even thought about, and we just think that, oh my God, if we can make this cup, we just made it. Or they are coming to us with a composite option, and we're just thinking, oh my God, if we can make this composites, we just done it. It's enough. So the market is huge. I think the important thing is that sharing knowledge and working collaboratively. So we are definitely open to joining Synergies. Yeah.
I have a more personal question. You're so calm and you know very well your topic, but how do you manage, your teams and your board? Because you're a young woman, and it seems that on your board you have some very strong personalities as well. So tell me more about your leadership capacities.
Yeah, in terms of leadership, I don't, how can I say, like, I think for me, I really like to talk to people and I really like to understand them. It's about for me, it's not about who's the leader. It's like an unspoken thing in our team because everyone is pulling it. And I don't want to say that I'm a leader here. I just believe in every person in our company, working really hard day-to-day basis, pushing this, aspects and aspiration of ours. And I think it became everybody's. It's not about just my aspiration. Everyone in our team and in our company adopted our vision, and they fully believe in us. And in terms of me, I like talking to people. If there's any problem, I like to understand what's going on, and then try to solve it. Because all of the disagreements, we can end any disagreements in our company by just talking about it and come up with a solution.
And as you're a couple and Francis is working with you as the CTO, can you try sometime to unplug, and have, some other focus than just Solublue?
Yes, we are trying. It's been in the first the thing is, this is not new to us. We've been working on projects over 7 years, and we've been living and working on the same projects at the same time. So we know how to do this, how to join our energies, or also where to stop. So it's really important to take your time for your mental health. If it's sometimes it's too overwhelming that you are working full time and every day on the same project over and over again, sometimes you don't you don't take a break during weekends. But it's important to acknowledge that you need to take a break sometimes, and take some time off with your mental health, and consider all these aspects. As a solution, what we do is every day, especially during this lockdown, it's really difficult, but we take time to go out to nature almost every day and take a long walk. It really calms us down, and you just, if you're struggling with any problem, you can just, stop, think, breathe, and then say, okay, we need to do this, then we need to do that type of approach, I guess.
Excellent. My last question, and well, it's not a question. So if I have the the possibility to grant you a wish, what would it be today?
Granting your wish, I will think that finding the right investor will be my wish, because my life is Solublue right now, and my biggest wish will be bringing Solublue to a global success, and finding the right investor, helping us, coming to our team, and being part of this journey, and bring our vision to a success and make a real impact to the world. We really want to change the world, and we want to tackle climate change. We like to tackle the environmental, the negative environmental impact that we are having on in the world. So if we can bring Solublue to reality, we are going to tackle one of these problems, plastic and food waste in our world. So yeah. Join us.
And I'm pretty sure you will. Congratulations, and I'm very enthusiastic about Solublue project, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to find you the right investor. Thank you so much, Ayca, for this time. I have a few questions. Antoine, working on the Seaweed at Biomarine, is asking how are you going to deal, with the, there is one issue. So we don't want Seaweed to become a commodity market. So what will be, the decent price we are ready to pay, to the farmers if we want to have a very good, quality raw material that is also acceptable, for the industry? How do you deal with that?
Well, it's a really serious question, and we are getting it a lot. And it's really important in terms of the economics, because it's all about, there is this livelihood of people, which is really important. They need to be paid fairly, and we cannot not have that. We need to pay those farmers fairly. It's a real effort, real job, and with the competing with plastic especially, is challenging. But what I can say is that new EU legislation is coming all around the world. The new legislations are coming as like a landslide. So it is not going to be optional in the future. If you're a company making single-use or using single-use plastic, it's not going to be an option in the future for you to make a decision. Oh, maybe I choose plastic because it's cheaper. You have to use a natural polymer, and the natural polymer, which means that it biodegrades in natural conditions. And currently, I'm not aware that any natural polymer in the market does it, because there isn't any natural polymer in the market. All of the compostable PLA type materials, they are not natural polymers, and they don't biodegrade in ocean conditions. And ocean plastic is the biggest issue that all of the EU and other governments, they want to tackle these issues. Half of them coming from single-use packaging. So in the future, optioning for I'll use plastic or PLA is not going to be an option. You have to use natural polymers, and you need to pay what the price they are, if it's like 1p extra or 2p extra, is not going to be an issue. Plus, with natural polymers, as an end user or customer or producer, you don't have to pay for the cleanup cost. There's plastic taxes coming, and you don't have to pay for those tax. Everything can be composted. It is naturally better. It is compostable, and it is going to be a mandatory. So people in the future are not going to have many options but use natural polymers for single-use applications.
I agree. There is a question from Alexandra in Belgium, and she's asking if you can work with any type of bio-based polymer, meaning, the celluloses from the trees, but also a food byproduct. Can you combine your seaweed polymer to design new type of bio packaging?
Yes, 100%. So it depends on, of course, the polymer. So our polymer is water-based. So if your polymer, if it's a cellulose base, yes, we can add it, or I don't know, starch base, again cellulose. So we can add polysaccharides or cellulose type, water soluble polymers into our polymer, and definitely make a combination of them. And each time, basically, you play with a material, you come across a novel material, maybe. So it's a great opportunity. So why not?
Okay. I have a question from Danny. Is asking if you can combine your polymer with some hydrogel coming from, it's an hydrogel that is made of collagen.
Collagen is an animal-based polysaccharide, as far as I know. And yes, we can combine it, but we like to be more like a vegan alternative. So we don't want to actually add any animal byproducts into our material.
Okay, perfect. Another question from Andy is asking if the Brexit, had some direct effect, on the development of the company in terms of funding, possibilities, connection with the EU funding.
Yes, it did, of course, had an impact in terms of funding. Actually, we are not eligible for some of the EU funds. We are eligible for some of the EU funds. Actually, like last year, we got some EIT funds. EIT, European Institute of Technology, and the funds are coming from EU. So we were eligible for some of those funds, and we are again talking with them to get further funds. However, for other big funds in the EU, we are not eligible for that. So that is kind of a it's a negative thing. It's definitely not positive. But in terms of our business, we also got a lot of feedback from our customers. They told us that, when they are buying fresh food coming from France, coming from, Spain, and it has to kind of now wait in the border before coming to the UK. So it costs them actually food waste, because, the efficiency of this, transportation and having no borders between the EU countries is a really positive thing, and UK now lost it, and it's causing some delays we know that from our customers, they are experiencing some delays and some lost actually during that.
Okay. Stephen is asking, what is the valorization include, well, with all the IP that you have, the valorization pre-money before the round?
So we valued at 8 million currently.
Pounds.
Pounds, yes.
Yeah, perfect. And this is a question directly, from me. When do you see your company going public? At what stage?
I think after the pilot production, it could go public. So it again depends on the interest. If we will be approached by companies, who are interested in doing this, so why not? We are also interested in joining other companies, joining forces with seaweed producers and or other other seaweed biopolymer startup companies. So we are open to all suggestions. The important thing is that we need to bring our impact to the world as soon as possible.
Excellent. I really enjoy, spending the time with you discussing, this bright future of Solublue using seaweed and improving, the marine environment and the climate, of course. I will post the interview on our Biomarine TV website. Feel free to go back to share the link. And Ayca, thank you so much for your time. And I wish you all the best, with the future of Solublue.
Thank you so much, Pierre, for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I think you are the seaweed expert here, so I should have been asking you more questions. And there's so much thing that I can learn from you during our journey about seaweed supply chain and the environmental impact of using seaweed on our biopolymer. So thanks again. I will share this in LinkedIn as well.
Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.